The small cargo ship, Dandelion Ray, drifted through deep space. Its metal hull was scratched, the engines old and noisy. Inside, the human pilot, Jake Rowe, sipped his cheap coffee and looked out the window. He was alone, and he liked it that way. Jake was an ex-soldier. He had seen war. He'd lost friends. Now he just carried cargo from one star system to another. Quiet jobs, no fights, no trouble. But today, trouble found him. His ship's screen blinked. Incoming distress signal. Coordinates locked. Jake frowned. That's close. He tapped the controls. A small red light showed the location. The damaged ship was floating near an asteroid field. No signal ID, no call sign. Could be pirates. Could be a trap. But what if someone needed help? Jake sighed. I must be crazy. He turned his ship and flew toward the signal. As the Dandelion Ray got closer, he saw smoke. Silver alien ship, shaped like a bird, was broken in half. Marks covered its wings. Escape pods were missing. Jake put on his suit and grabbed his blaster. He opened the airlock and floated toward the wreck. Inside, it was dark and cold. Dead bodies floated in the hallway. Alien guards in golden armor, shot in the back. Pirates, maybe. Jake moved slowly, searching each room. Then he heard something, a soft sound, a voice. He followed it and opened a heavy door. There, behind a broken console, was a woman. Her skin was a soft shade of silver blue, her hair long and shining like stars. She wore a torn royal robe. She looked up at Jake with tired, scared eyes. Are you real? She asked weakly. Jake blinked. You're alive. Tried to stand, but fell. Jake rushed forward and caught her. Easy now, he said. I'm not here to hurt you. You are human. He nodded. Name's Jake. You. Wow! She hesitated, then whispered, I am Princess Zarella of the Zalari Empire. Jake raised an eyebrow. Oh, royalty? Yes, she said, and I need your help. Jake brought her back to his ship. He cleaned her wounds and gave her water. She sat on the edge of his bunk, silent but alert. You're lucky I found you, Jake said. What happened? My ship was attacked, she said softly. Pirates, maybe more. My own guards were killed. Someone inside the Empire wants me dead. Jake frowned. Why? I refused to marry a warlord, she answered. An old, cruel leader. My family wanted to unite our planets through marriage. I said no, so they tried to kill you. Looks like it. Jake leaned back in his chair. Now you're sitting in a junky human ship, flown by a nobody like me. Zarella smiled faintly. You saved my life, Jake Rowe. That makes you more than a nobody. Jake didn't know what to say. He rubbed his face. All right, we'll get you somewhere safe. Maybe Earth, maybe neutral space. Thank you, she said quietly. For the next few days, they stayed in hyperspace. Jake repaired his ship's systems. Zarella helped, though she had never used human tech before. She learned quickly. They talked a lot. About war, about family, about freedom. Zarella was strong, smart, and curious. She asked many questions about Earth, about humans, about how Jake lived with no power, no rank, no crown. Jake asked about her planet, her people, the pressure of being royal. One night, as they shared a small dinner of rehydrated stew, Zarella looked at him closely. You are brave, she said, and kind and honest. Jake laughed. Not sure about brave. I'm just trying to survive. But you saved a stranger, she said, even when you thought it might be a trap. He looked at her. I've seen too much death to ignore a cry for help. Zarella touched his hand. You are not like the men I know. Back home, they want power, control. They see women as tools. Pulled his hand back gently. I'm just a simple guy. I don't do politics. She smiled. I wish I could marry someone like you, human. Jake nearly choked on his drink. What? She laughed softly. Do not worry. I know it's impossible. In another life, maybe. Jake looked at her. For a moment he forgot she was an alien, a princess. She was just a woman, tired, hopeful, brave. Let's just get you to safety, he said. Next morning, alarms blared. Enemy ship detected. Locking on. Jake jumped out of bed. Damn, we've been tracked. Zarella ran into the cockpit. Is it them? Jake checked the screen. Looks like a bounty hunter ship. Armed, fast. We can't outrun it. We fight then. Jake looked at her. You sure you can handle a blaster? I was trained in combat since I was 12. She said, let's show them what a human and a princess can do. They fought side by side. Jake dodged missiles with crazy flying. Zarella shot down drones with perfect aim. The ship took damage, but they held on. In the final moment, Jake spun the ship toward an asteroid and used its gravity to slingshot around. The hunter crashed into the rock. The screen went dark. Silence. They had survived. Breathing hard, Zarella leaned against the wall. That was intense. Jake grinned. Welcome to human-style flying. She laughed. Then softly she said, I feel more alive with you than I ever did in the palace. He looked at her. You're full of surprises, and so are you, Jake Rowe. That night, they sat quietly in the cockpit, looking at the stars. Jake didn't speak, just listened to the hum of the ship. Zarella leaned closer. If I ever return to my world, she whispered, they'll never let me choose my own path, Jake. Turned to her, then maybe you don't have to go back. Hope in her eyes. I don't know what's ahead, Jake said, but we'll face it together, one jump at a time. She nodded. Then lead the way, human. And for the first time in years, Jake smiled like he meant it. The Dandelion Ray moved slowly through hyperspace. Its engines were damaged, and sparks came out from the side panels every few hours. Inside, Jake Rowe worked with a wrench in one hand and a scanner in the other. Princess Zarella sat across the room, watching him. You do everything yourself? She asked. Jake didn't look up. Yep, no crew, no help. Just me and this bucket of bolts. Zarella tilted her head. Strange. On my ship, I had 30 workers just to maintain the engine core. Jake smirked. Well, you had a royal ship. This is a cargo hauler held together by luck and tape. Zarella stood up, her long silver hair now tied back into a loose ponytail. She was wearing one of Jake's extra shirts and pants, too big for her. But she liked the comfort. I want to help, she said. Jake looked surprised. You help me fix an engine? I learned fast. He gave her the scanner. All right, princess, find the heat leak. As they worked side by side, something began to change. Zarella laughed more. Jake smiled more, argued about tools and wires, but there was light in their eyes now, at one point. Jake leaned too close, and their hands touched. They paused. Neither spoke. Then Zarella pulled away gently and said, Jake, can I ask you something? Sure. Why did you leave the military? Jake froze. He stared at the wall for a few seconds, then finally spoke. My team, we were sent to help in a peace mission on Calyx Prime, but the deal went bad. Zellery generals blamed humans. My squad was caught in the crossfire. Zarella's eyes softened. I'm sorry. I got out. Couldn't follow orders after that. I bought this ship with my savings and stayed away from all politics. Zarella nodded. And now you're helping a princess from the same empire that caused you pain? Jake looked at her. You're not like them. That made her smile. A red light blinked on the screen. Tracking signal detected. Jake stood up quickly. We've been found again. Jake checked the radar. No, it's worse. Zellery. Patrol ship. Military grade. Zarella's face turned pale. That means my brother's close. Brother. She took a deep breath. Prince Kalen. My older brother, he wants the throne. He promised to marry me to the warlord to gain power. When I said no, he arranged my accident. Jake clenched his fists. This was never about peace, just power. Yes. And if he finds us now, he'll kill both of us. Jake pushed buttons quickly. I know a place. It's risky. A planetoid base outside Zalari and human space. Full of smugglers and thieves, but no government. Eyes. Can we make it? We'll try. The journey took 6 hours. The planetoid was ugly gray rocks, broken buildings, and glowing lights from old machines. Ships of all sizes floated near it. There were no rules here, no laws. Jake landed the Dandelion Ray in a dusty docking bay. "Welcome to Edgepoint," he said. "The galaxy's dirty backyard." Zarella looked around. "It smells like burnt oil and old socks." Jake chuckled. "That's the perfume of freedom." Inside the base, aliens of all kinds walked the halls, some tall and furry, others small and glowing. Everyone watched everyone else. No one smiled. Jake led Zarella through dark corridors. They reached a small shop run by a bald man with metal eyes. "Jake," the man said. "Still alive, I see?" "Barely, Rix," Jake replied. "I need parts, fuel, and information. Information costs more." Jake dropped a credit chip on the table. "Then talk." Rix leaned closer. "Your face is being scanned by bounty networks. Quietly, but heavily." Jake frowned. "How many?" "Many. Some from pirates, some from Zellery nobles. There's one that's royal level." Zarella stepped forward. "My brother." Rick stared at her. "You brought her here?" Jake stood in front of her. "She's under my protection." Rick shook his head. "Then you both better move fast. The price on your heads is rising." They bought parts and supplies. Jake made quick repairs. They planned to leave within hours, but someone was watching them. From the shadows, a tall figure sent a signal. "Target found. Human ship confirmed. Princess. Confirmed." Sending coordinates later, inside the Dandelion Ray, Zarella paced back and forth. "Maybe I should leave," she said. "I don't want you to die because of me." Jake stood up. "But you're not leaving. You don't understand. This is not just some mission. My people will stop at nothing." Jake stepped closer. "You think I care? I didn't risk my ship, my life, and my future just to give up now." She looked at him, eyes full of fear. "Why do you care?" Jake took a moment, then said softly, "Because you're the first person who made me feel something again, like I matter." Zarella stared at him. Then a loud explosion shook the ship. Boom. Jake grabbed his blaster. "They're here." Outside, a group of armored soldiers ran through the docking. Baydot, they fired at the ship. Jake and Zarella returned fire from behind the door. Zarella's aim was perfect. She hit 2 of them in the knees. Jake shot another one in the chest. But there were too many. Jake hit a button. "We need to run." They slipped through a back hatch and entered the maze-like tunnels of the base smoke screens. Blasters, firing everywhere. Jake led her through the chaos. They ducked behind old crates and escaped through a broken vent. Finally, they reached a hidden maintenance hangar. Jake pointed. "We'll steal that shuttle, fast and small. Can use it to pull the Dandelion Ray later." I climbed in, started the engines, and blasted off just as more troops arrived in orbit. The stars blinked around them. Zarella sat back in the seat, her hair messy, her face covered in dust, but still beautiful. Jake looked at her. "Still think I'm just a simple human." She laughed. "No, you're a crazy one too." He grinned. Then her face turned serious. "Jake, when you stood in front of me back there, I felt something I didn't know I needed." Jake looked at her. She whispered, "Thank you for not treating me like a prize or a puppet." Reached out and gently touched her hand. "You're not just a princess," he said. "You're a fighter, a survivor." She held his hand tightly. "And you, Jake Rowe, are not a nobody." As the shuttle flew toward a new hiding place, the stars around them shined brighter, but so did the danger, and so did their bond. The small stolen shuttle moved through the darkness of space like a ghost. Inside, Jake Rowe sat at the controls, while Princess Zarella leaned beside him, both tired but alert. "We need fuel," Jake said. "And a place to rest." Zarella pointed to a blinking dot on the map. "There. That's a rogue outpost, old Zalari mining base, now used by traders, criminals, and rebels. No government control." Jake nodded. "Perfect. The less rules, the better." The outpost hung above a gas giant, looking like a floating junkyard. Broken ships were tied together with thick cables, and blinking signs in alien languages lit up the space. Jake landed the shuttle in Bay 9 as they stepped out. Thick smoke and strange smells filled the air. Aliens of all shapes and sizes walked. Past them some with glowing eyes, others with metal limbs. Zarella pulled her hood up. "We must be careful here." Jake smirked. "Careful is my middle name?" She raised an eyebrow. "Really?" "It's Alan." They entered a dimly lit control hall. Jake found an old contact, a short alien named Goff, with green skin and too many fingers. Jake Goff said, blinking fast, "I thought you were dead, almost." "I need fuel, ship parts, and information." Goff grinned. "Everything has a price." Jake handed over credits. "Start talking." Goff looked at Zarella. "She's not from around here." Jake didn't reply. Goff laughed. Fine. No names." "But listen, there's a storm coming. The Zellery Prince has sent shadow agents. They're hunting for something or someone valuable. Word is royal blood." Jake's jaw tightened. "They'll be here soon," Goff said. "You've got hours, not days." Zarella touched Jake's arm. "Then we need to hurry." They rented a small room inside the outpost. Metal walls, one bed, flickering lights. Jake worked on a datapad while Zarella stared out the window at the gas giant below. "Do you ever miss Earth?" she asked. Jake nodded. "Sometimes I miss the sky, the trees, the smell of rain." Zarella closed her eyes. "On my planet we have blue forests that sing in the wind." But I never listened. I was too busy trying to please my family. Dave turned to her. "You don't have to please anyone now." She looked at him. "Maybe I want to please you." Blinked. "What?" She smiled. "You're the only one who sees me for who I am, not just a princess, not just a name." Jake looked away. "Just a guy with a half-broken ship?" "You're more than that to me." Later. They walked through the lower levels of the outpost. A market was running, filled with tech, weapons, food, and secrets. A woman with cybernetic eyes offered them cloaking devices. A reptilian trader tried to sell them poisoned darts. Then an old Zalari monk approached them. He wore dark robes and had glowing marks on his face. He looked at Zarella and bowed. "Your Highness?" Zarella froze. "How do you know me?" "I was once your tutor," the monk said softly, "before the court sent me away for speaking the truth." Jake stepped forward. "What truth?" The monk looked around. "Not here, follow me." Led them to a quiet corner of the station. An old shrine turned into a meditation room. There, the monk told them the real story. "Your brother, Prince Kalen, he made a deal with the warlord, not just to gain power, but to destroy the royal bloodline." Zarella's eyes widened. "But why?" "He believes the ancient laws are chains," the monk said. "If he kills you, the last true heir, he can rewrite them. Rule as he wishes." Jake stepped back. "So this marriage was just a trap?" "Yes," the monk said, "and he has sent a secret assassin after you, one who never fails." "Who?" Jake asked. The monk leaned forward. "His name is the Mirror. He takes the shape of anyone, even someone you trust." Zarella whispered, "A shapeshifter." Jake frowned. "Then we need to leave now." The monk gave them a crystal.
Ow.
"This holds a code. If placed in your ship's system, it will show a hidden safe route, used only by royal escape crafts." Zarella took it. "Thank you, old friend." As they returned to their room, Jake kept checking every face they passed. "Anyone here could be that assassin," he muttered. Zarella nodded. "Even someone who looks like you." Jake sighed. "That's not comforting." In their room, the lights flickered again. Jake locked the door and turned on the shields. Zarella sat close to him on the bed. "Back there, back the monk," she said. "I was scared." "Me too," Jake admitted. She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I don't know what will happen tomorrow," she whispered. "But tonight, I feel safe." Jake looked down at her silver-blue face, her glowing eyes, her calm breath, without thinking. He said, "I won't let anything happen to You, she looked up. I know. Their faces came close, but before their lips could meet, boom. An explosion rocked the outpost. Red lights flashed. Warning. External breach, Jake stood. They found us. Outside, chaos filled the hallways. Soldiers in black armor ran through the corridors, shooting at anyone who resisted. Jake pulled Zarella by the hand and ran behind them. A shadow moved. A tall figure with empty eyes. The mirror, it changed shape in the dark one moment, looking like Jake. Then Zarella, then a child, then a guard. They ran through the market, dodging blasts. Alien traders screamed and ran in all directions. Jake pulled out his blaster. Zarella grabbed a staff from a display stand. The mirror attacked from above. Dropping like smoke, Jake fired, but the shots passed through. Zarella swung the staff and hit the creature in the chest, hissed, and melted into a pool of black mist. We need to reach the shuttle, Jake shouted. They reached Bay 4 where their stolen shuttle sat. Jake punched the code. The door opened, but before they could enter, the mirror appeared again, this time in the form of Zarella herself. Jake hesitated. Which one is real? He whispered. The two Zarellas stood before him. One shouted, It's me, Jake. One's fake, the other shouted. No, she's lying. Jake raised his blaster. Tell me something only the real Zarella knows. The first one said, I told you my forests sing in the wind. The second said, You said your middle name is Alan. Jake smiled. Then he shot the first one. It screamed and turned into black smoke. Zarella ran to him. How did you know? Because I never told you my middle name. They got into the shuttle, launched fast, and escaped the burning station behind them. Jake flew through the gas giant's rings, then activated the crystal from the monk. A glowing path appeared on the screen, a secret route, invisible to normal scanners. They followed it. Inside the quiet cockpit, Zarella touched his hand. You saved me again. Jake didn't reply. She said, You believed in me. Even when you didn't know who I really was. He turned to her. I still don't fully know, he said, but I trust you. Zarella looked at him. I'm done hiding, Owl face. My brother. I will speak to my people, even if it costs me everything. Jake nodded. You won't be alone. The stars flew past them. Their hands remained together, no longer just a fugitive princess and a human nobody. Now they were something, more something powerful, and the galaxy would soon learn it. The stolen shuttle floated silently in deep space. Stars blinked like diamonds in the distance. Inside, Jake Rowe and Princess Zarella sat together, both tired, both thinking. Jake broke the silence. We can't keep running forever, Zarella nodded slowly. I know. The galaxy's too small to hide from my brother forever. He'll keep sending people. Bounty hunters, spies, assassins. I'm tired of hiding, Zarella said. Her voice was strong now. It's time to end this. I must face him. Jake looked at her. You'll need help. She turned to him. Will you be with me? Jake didn't hesitate. Always. They followed the secret path shown by the monk's crystal. After 5 jumps through hidden wormholes, they reached an old communications station orbiting a dead star. Zarella stared. At the console in front of her, the lights flickered. The system was ancient but still working. This is an old royal broadcast relay, she said. From here, I can speak to the entire Zelari Empire. Jake crossed his arms. You sure? About this? She nodded. My people need to hear the truth, not lies from Kalen. Jake watched her walk forward and activate the system. The lights glowed blue. Camera blinked on. Zarella stood tall, eyes calm, shoulders straight. She began to speak. To the noble citizens of the Zelari Empire, her voice echoed across thousands of systems. This is your princess, Zarella. Speaking freely. Jake listened quietly from behind the console. I was attacked. My ship destroyed. My guards killed. They told you it was an accident. A tragedy. It was not. My own brother, Prince Kalen, betrayed me. He wished to force me into marriage with an old warlord for power. Zarella raised her chin higher. I refused. I chose freedom. I chose life. I was saved by a human one with no army, no title, no crown. Only a heart full of courage. Jake blinked. He hadn't expected her to mention him. Zarella continued. This man, Jake Rowe, risked everything to protect me. He asked for nothing. He treated me not as a trophy, but as a person. Her eyes shined. In our empire, marriage has always been about power. I say no more. I will marry not for control, but for truth. Jake's eyes widened. I, Princess Zarella, wish to marry. This human, let the galaxy know I choose him. Ouch. Jake's mouth dropped open. Wait, what? Zarella finished her speech calmly. If my brother disagrees, let him meet me in the royal court. Let us show the people who we really are. She ended the transmission. The lights shut off. Silence filled the room. Jake stared at her. You just proposed to me in front of the galaxy? Zarella turned to him. Yes. Jake blinked. You didn't even ask me first. She stepped closer. I didn't have time. I had to act fast. You'll forgive me, won't you? Jake rubbed the back of his head. You're lucky I like you. She smiled. So, is that a yes? Jake looked into her eyes, bright, honest, unafraid. He sighed, smiled, and said yes. The reaction across the Zellery Empire was massive. Some cheered. Some rioted. Some screamed in rage. A princess marrying a human. Impossible. Unholy. Revolutionary. The royal family was silent, but Kalen was not. He sent a message of his own. Let her return to the royal court, he said. Let her defend. Her actions before our ancestors. Everyone knew what that meant. A final trial. A showdown. If she failed, she would lose her title or her life. Zarella and Jake set course for Zeller Prime, the capital planet. On the way, she sat quietly, holding a small stone in her hand. Jake looked over. What's that? A family charm, she replied. My mother gave it to me, she told me. One day when you feel alone, hold this and remember who you are. Jake placed his hand over hers. You're not alone now. She looked at him. I know. As they entered orbit around Zeller Prime, the sky was filled with ships' warships, royal crafts, patrol cruisers. Security was tight. Their small shuttle was escorted by 4 guards. Jake wore a clean black jacket. Zarella wore a silver dress with glowing patterns. Her crown was simple but bright. They stepped out into the great Corda place where billions watched through screens and holograms. The walls were golden. The roof opened to the stars. At the center sat the Emperor Zarella's father. Old, silent, with tired eyes. On his left stood Prince Kalen. He smiled, but it was cold and fake. Zarella stepped forward. I have returned. To face judgment, she said. The Emperor raised one hand. Speak. Zarella took a deep breath. I love this empire. I obeyed its rules. I followed its customs. But I will not be used like a tool. I will not marry for power. I will not lie for peace. Gasps filled the court. Kalan stepped forward. You bring shame, he said. A human cannot sit beside a Zellery royal. It is against our sacred law. Zarella turned to him. The sacred law also says truth must be protected, and you betrayed it. He laughed. You have no proof. Zarella nodded at Jake. Jake stepped forward and played a recording. Monk's message from before. The truth about Kellen's plot. More gasps. Even the Emperor raised an eyebrow. Kellen's smile cracked. That's lies. You think the people will believe a dirty human? Zarella walked beside Jake. They will believe what they see. A brother who tried to kill his own sister. And a human who risked his life to save her. The Emperor stood slowly. His voice was old, but strong. Kalen, what do you say to this? Kalen stammered. I did what I thought was best. For who? For yourself? The Emperor asked. You are no longer a prince, the Emperor said. Kellen's eyes went wide. Father, no. Guards moved and took Kalen away. Silence. Fell the Emperor looked at Zarella. And you, my daughter? Do you truly love this human? She nodded, with all my heart. The Emperor looked at Jake. You human? You stand by her, even if it means facing danger forever? Jake stepped forward. I do. The Emperor closed his eyes. Then let it be so. Outside, crowds watched in shock. Some cheered. Some wept. Some simply stood still. The princess had changed history. A human had touched a royal heart, and the galaxy would never be the same. That evening, Zarella and Jake stood on a balcony above the palace gardens. Stars twinkled above. I can't believe. It worked, Jake whispered. Zarella leaned against him.
Me neither.
Your father looked like he aged 10 years in 5 minutes. He'll be fine. He always knew Kaylin was dangerous. But he needed the right moment to act. Jake looked at her, and now what? She smiled. Now we plan our wedding. Jake laughed. You're serious? I proposed. Remember? I thought that was just for politics. Zarella held his face gently. I don't play with hearts. Jake Rowe. I meant every word. Jake kissed her softly, then said, Then let's shake the stars again. The sky above Zeller Prime glowed with light. Ships flew in patterns across the stars, forming the symbol of peace in glowing trails. Below, the royal palace was full of excitement. Flowers floated in the air. Music from 1,000 worlds played. Softly through the halls. Today was the wedding of Princess Zarella and a human named Jake Roa, moment no one in the galaxy ever expected. Jake stood in front of a tall mirror. He wore a dark formal jacket with silver edges made by Zellery designers. Pulled at the collar, nervous. I look like a space prince, he muttered. The door opened behind him. Ambassador Rees, an old friend of his from his army days, stepped in. You clean up well, Jake? The ambassador said with a grin. Jake gave a nervous smile. I'm just a mechanic with good timing. Rees walked closer. That's not true anymore. The whole galaxy's watching you. Humans and Zellery, even rival species. You're a symbol now. I didn't want to be a symbol, Jake said. I just wanted to protect her. Rees nodded. That's exactly why you're the right one. In another room, Zarella sat quietly as attendants fixed her silver dress. It flowed like water, shining with soft blue light. Her hair was tied back with crystal strands, and her crown sparkled above her head. But her eyes were distant. Princess? One of the maids asked. Is something wrong? Zarella shook her head. No, I'm just thinking. She stood and looked out the window at the gathering crowd. This is not just a wedding, she whispered. It's a message. A test. Of love. The maid asked. Of truth? Zarella said. Not everyone wants peace. Far away in the shadow of a broken moon, a ship waited silently. Inside it, a tall figure moved through darkness. His skin was metal. His arms were sharp. His name was Draxon, one of the last loyal assassins of Prince Kaylin. Even after Kaylin lost his title, Draxon remained loyal. The Empire's weak, he said to his crew. The princess is soft. Human will. Rule our bloodline? No. He activated a blade hidden in his arm. Tonight, we end this shame. Back on Zeller Prime, the wedding ceremony began. Billions watched across thousands of worlds. The Great Hall was full of leaders, warriors, traders, and royal families. Humans stood beside aliens. Enemies sat near friends. Jake walked into the center of the hall. Zarella followed moments later. Glowing like starlight, they stood face to face as the Emperor rose to speak. Today, so worlds join, not by force, but by choice, he said. Let this union show that hearts can unite what politics cannot. Zarella smiled at Jake. Jake whispered, still sure about this? Zarella whispered back, you're the only thing I'm ever sure about. They held hands. The priest stepped forward to say the final words. But before he could speak, boom, an explosion rocked the back of the hall. Screams filled the air. Guards pulled out their weapons. From the smoke, Draxon stepped forward, holding 2 energy blades. His eyes glowed. Red, this wedding is a lie, he shouted. The Empire belongs to the strong. He ran forward fast. Deadly Jack pushed Zarella behind him and pulled a small pistol from his jacket. He fired, missed. Draxon leapt. A blaster shot hit his side. Ambassador Rees had fired from the balcony. Draxon staggered but didn't fall. He jumped again, this time toward Zarella. Jake threw himself in the way and caught Draxon midair. They both crashed to the ground. Draxon slashed Jake's arm, cutting deep. Zarella picked up Jake's pistol and aimed. "Stop," she shouted. Draxon laughed. "You won't shoot me, you're too soft." She fired right into his leg, he screamed, and dropped his blade. Guards rushed forward, captured him. The hall was silent. Zarella dropped the pistol. Jake lay on the floor, bleeding from his shoulder. She knelt beside him, eyes full of tears. "You'll be okay," she said. He smiled weakly. "You shot him? You were going to get yourself killed," she said, holding his hand tight. "I had to protect you. And now I'll protect you." Later, in the royal healing chambers, Jake lay in bed while Medbots closed his wound. Zarella sat beside him, her dress torn, her crown on the table. "You almost died," she said. "Wouldn't be the first time," he joked. She leaned closer. "I thought I lost you, but you came back." "I always will," Jake said. "That's my promise." She smiled. "Then let's finish what we started." 1 hour later, they stood once again in the great hall. The broken wall was sealed. The guests returned. The light above them was brighter than ever. This time, no one dared interrupt. Jake and Zarella stood side by side. The Emperor gave a simple nod. The priest raised his voice. "Do you, Princess Zarella, take this human Jake, Ro, as your life partner, to stand beside you through all storms?" "I do," she said. "Do you, Jake Ro, take this princess, not just for love, but to walk beside her as her shield, her heart, and her equal?" "I do," Jake replied. "Then by both law and love, I declare you joined." The hall roared. With cheers, Zarella turned to Jake and kissed him. That night, across 2 galaxies, people celebrated, some in peace, some in anger, some in wonder, but no one ignored it. A human and a princess had done the impossible, in a quiet garden behind the palace. Jake and Zarella sat together under the stars. "You still think I'm crazy for agreeing to this?" Jake asked. Zarella smiled. "Maybe, but you're mine now." He looked up, "I used to think I had no purpose, just a broken man in a broken ship, and now?" Jake looked at her, eyes full of warmth. "Now I have something worth fighting for. You." She kissed his forehead. "And I have something I never had," she whispered. "A choice." They leaned against each other, quiet and content, far beyond. In a dark room deep in a distant moon, a small group of leaders watched the wedding recording. A tall alien turned to his partner. "The humans are changing things. They're dangerous," another said. Or maybe said a third there. "Just getting started." They all looked at the screen. Jake and Zarella, holding hands, smiling, unshaken.